I never pictured myself as the type of guy who'd get betrayed like that. I was the one who held things together, stood firm, and made damn sure my wife had everything she could ever need. I wasn't some weak pushover who missed the warning signs. I thought I had my eyes wide open, always in charge, or at least, that's what I told myself. Crystal and I had been a couple for 8 years, hitched for 5 of them. She was a knockout, blonde, with these sharp blue eyes that could stop traffic without her even trying. When we first crossed paths, she was slinging drinks behind a bar, and I loved how she blended this sweet charm with a fiery edge. She didn't take crap from anybody, and I admired the hell out of that. But over time, that spark of hers started flaring up in ways I never saw coming. I worked my tail off to give us a good life, doing everything I could to make it solid. I ran my own security company, teaching guys how to handle danger, calm things down, or step up when push came to shove. The hours were long, but the money was good. Crystal, meanwhile, had a part-time gig at a dental office, not for the cash, but just to keep busy. She loved having that freedom, and I made sure she had plenty of it. Looking back, the clues were staring me in the face, those late-night errands, her sudden obsession with the gym despite hating sweat, and the way she was practically glued to her phone like some kid. I didn't brush it off because I was clueless, I trusted her, figured she wouldn't be dumb enough to stab me in the back. That all came crashing down one night when I swung by Walmart to pick up some ammo for a hunting trip. It was pushing midnight, the parking lot damn near deserted, just a few cars scattered under the eerie glow of the streetlights. I pulled my truck into a spot, killed the engine, and then I saw it, Crystal, down on her knees in front of my own brother, Ryan. For a split second, my mind just froze, like it couldn't make sense of it, like maybe it was someone else. But no, I knew her every move, the way her hair shimmered in the light, and I sure as hell knew my own kin standing there, acting like he didn't have a care in the world while my wife, was out there in the shadows behind a damn Walmart. A cold, steely anger washed over me. I could have marched over and ripped him apart right then, but I held back, I wasn't about to let them see me unravel. That'd be too easy for them. Instead, I fired up the truck, drove home, and walked into a silent house. I headed straight for the bedroom, yanked open the closet, and started packing. I didn't take much, just a couple of duffel bags with clothes, my important papers, and my firearms. The rest? She could keep it. Let her wake up to an empty house and wonder where the hell I'd gone. Let her feel the weight of nothing but quiet and empty space. And that's exactly how it played out. 12 days went by, no calls, no texts, nothing. She didn't even notice I'd vanished. Then, on day 12, my phone buzzed. It was her. I let it ring out to voicemail. A minute later, a text popped up, "Babe, where'd you go? Why's all your stuff missing?" It took her nearly 2 weeks to figure out she was living alone. I stared at that message for a good long while, my hand squeezing the phone till my knuckles turned pale. Then I grinned, 'cause for the first time in forever, I was the one calling the shots again. I met Crystal in this grimy little bar, the kind of place where the lights were low, the air was thick with smoke, and folks went to drown their troubles or act like they didn't have any. I wasn't out hunting for a girlfriend, shoot, I wasn't looking for much of anything, but there she was, working the bar with this sly grin, pouring shots like she ran the joint. She wasn't just drop-dead gorgeous, she had this spark, this bold confidence in how she carried herself. Unlike the other women I'd dated, who seemed drawn to me 'cause I was built like a linebacker and had a job that screamed danger, Crystal stood out. She didn't seem like she needed anybody to save her, at least, that's what I believed back then. Things got serious quick. A few months after we started dating, she moved into my place. A year later, we tied the knot. It was a whirlwind, but it felt like the real deal. I was pulling in good money running security for big shots, politicians, corporate hotshots, folks who needed someone like me to keep trouble at bay. My job was all about spotting danger before it could strike, shutting it down before it got close. Kind of funny, looking back, that I missed the biggest danger of all, the one sharing my bed every night. Crystal and I had twin boys, Ethan and Cole, and those kids were my everything. I made damn sure they had whatever they needed, clothes, food, a roof over their heads, you name it. I taught them how to throw a punch, how to stand tall, how to be tough but fair. I wasn't some hands-off dad leaving it all to his wife. I was at every soccer game, every school play, every time they scraped a knee or needed a pep talk. If there was one thing I prided myself on, it was keeping my family safe, or so I thought. In hindsight, I should have caught on sooner to how Crystal was changing, the way she started pulling back from me, dressing flashier, acting like someone I didn't quite recognize. But I let it slide, not because I was spineless, but because I believed in us, in our family, in the promises we made. That's what made her betrayal hit like a freight train. After she finally texted me, playing dumb like she had no clue why I'd packed up and left, I decided to bide my time. I let her sit with it, let her stew in the silence, wondering what the hell was going on. 3 days later, I rolled up to the house. There she was, sitting at the kitchen table, sipping coffee like it was just another Tuesday. When I walked in, her eyes flicked up, and for a split second, I caught a flash of fear before she buried it. "My God, babe," she said, jumping to her feet, "where've you been?" I was freaking out. I couldn't help it, I laughed, a bitter chuckle right in her face. This woman had the nerve to play the worried wife, like she hadn't been messing around with my own brother in a damn Walmart parking lot. I dropped my duffel bag on the floor with a thud. "Worried, huh?" I said, keeping my voice calm but sharp. "That's rich, Crystal, considering you didn't seem too worried 12 days back." Her face twitched, like she was scrambling for the right lie to spin. Then, predictably, she went on the attack. "What the hell, Matt? You just vanish without a word. You didn't even try to talk to me." I stepped closer, looming over her. "Talk," I said, my voice low and tight. "What's there to talk about, Crystal? You want to chat about how you were screwing around with my brother behind a Walmart? That the conversation you're after?" Her face went white as a sheet. It's not what you're thinking." I slammed my fist down on the table so hard her coffee cup nearly toppled. "Don't you dare try to play me for a fool." Right then, Ryan, my own damn brother, strolled in, wearing my old hoodie, munching on a sandwich like he owned the place. He froze mid-bite when he saw me. "Oh, I was on him in a heartbeat. The chair flew back as I grabbed him by the throat and pinned him against the fridge. The shelves shook, magnets hit the floor. "You got a death wish, Ryan?" I growled, my grip tightening. He gasped, clawing at my wrist, but he was never stronger than me. Never had been. Crystal yelled, "Matt, stop it. You're gonna kill him." I didn't give a damn. Rage consumed me. This was my own brother, my blood. "You waltz into my home," I snarled, my face close enough to feel his breath, "eat my food, sleep with my wife, and think I'm just gonna let it go?" He tried to stammer something, but I wasn't hearing it. I slammed him against the fridge again, harder this time, the metal denting under the force. "I oughta smash you through the damn wall." Crystal rushed over, clawing at my arm. "Matt, please, stop. The boys are coming home soon." That hit me like a bucket of ice water. "My boys." I loosened my hold and shoved Ryan so hard he stumbled, crashing into the table and hitting the floor. He wheezed, grabbing his throat, staring up at me like I was some kind of beast. "You're done," I said, my voice ice cold. "Both of you. I'm through." Crystal started bawling. "Matt, don't do this. We can work this out." I let out a bitter laugh. "Work it out, Crystal. You didn't just step out on me. You didn't just wreck our marriage. You did it with him, my own damn brother." Her face fell apart, tears streaming. "It was a mistake. No, Crystal, I cut her off. A mistake is leaving the oven on. A mistake is misplacing your keys. This? I paused, letting the weight sink in. This was you choosing to betray me, again and again. Ryan was still sprawled on the floor, rubbing his neck. Man, I didn't mean. I kicked the chair across the room, and it smashed into the wall with a crack. Get the hell out. He scrambled to his feet and bolted out the door. Crystal sobbed, her hands covering her face. I didn't care. I turned and headed for the exit. Her voice broke as she called after me, Matt, please, think about the boys. I paused at the door but didn't look back. That's exactly what I'm doing. Then I walked out. I always knew Crystal had a wild side, that's what pulled me to her from the start. She was the kind of woman who craved excitement, always chasing the next high, the next adventure. Never thought she'd take it to this level, though. After I left, I didn't go far. I holed up in a cheap motel in town, keeping my distance while I sorted out my next steps. But I needed to know why, needed answers. Didn't take long to get M. Turns out, Crystal wasn't just cheating, she was scheming. She'd been setting me up for months, meeting with a lawyer behind my back, trying to figure out how to get full custody of our boys. Why? Because she thought if she could make me look like a loose cannon, she could take everything, the house, the kids, my savings, the whole damn lot. And the kicker? My own brother was in on it. I found out when I checked my email. An old army buddy of mine, still in the private security game, did me a solid and dug into her messages. What I read made my stomach turn. Texts between Crystal and Ryan. Crystal, he's gonna flip when he finds out. We just need to push him a bit further. Ryan, you sure this is gonna work? Crystal, absolutely. He's got a short fuse, always has. If we can make him lose it, the lawyer says I'll have enough to show he's unhinged. One big blow up, and we're set. My grip on the phone was so tight my knuckles went pale. This wasn't just betrayal, this was a calculated attack, a full-on ambush. If Crystal wanted to play dirty, I'd show her what dirty really looked like. I'm not some hothead who lets his emotions run the show. I'm a guy who plans, who gets it done, and I had all the evidence I needed. The next morning, I got to work. First stop, a lawyer, the best in town, a no-nonsense woman named Valerie Grayson. I showed her everything, the messages, proof of Crystal's affair with Ryan, bank records showing her siphoning money from our joint account behind my back. She looked it over and said, she's done for. I got to work with a few phone calls, first, to my bank to lock down our joint account so she couldn't drain another cent, then, to a private investigator to dig up every scrap of dirt on her and Ryan, and finally, to Child Protective Services, because Crystal wasn't just stepping out on me. She was living a double life, partying hard with drugs and booze, a whole world I didn't even know about. And now I had the evidence to prove it. She wasn't just sneaking around with my brother, she was throwing wild parties in our house while our boys slept upstairs. CPS. They weren't too thrilled about that. The knockout punch came when Crystal got served the custody papers. She completely lost it. She stormed into my motel room, blonde hair a mess, mascara streaking down her face. "What the hell did you do?" she screamed, pounding her fists on my door. I opened it, cool as a cucumber. I came out on top. She stared at me like a cornered animal, her breathing all ragged. You froze our accounts. You're trying to take my boys away." I leaned against the doorframe, arms folded. "Nah, Crystal, you did that all by yourself. I just made sure the truth got to the right folks." She shook her head, tears pouring down. "You can't do this to me." I gave her a tight smile. "Already done." Then I pulled out my phone and played the recording, the one where she admitted to setting me up. Her eyes went wide as saucers. "How'd you get that?" I didn't say a word. I just let her sit with it, let her realize she was out of moves. Her breathing got heavy, her eyes darting around like she was searching for some way to flip the script. But there was nothing left. The house? Mine. The money? Locked up. The kids? With me. And Ryan? He got what was coming to him too. The PI uncovered that he'd been skimming cash from the car dealership where he worked, cooking the books like some low-rent crook. I sent that evidence straight to his boss. Last I heard, Ryan was crashing in his car, begging for jobs that didn't run background checks. As for Crystal, well, she got her freedom, all right, just not the kind she was dreaming of. I thought it was over, thought I'd won the war. But I underestimated just how far Crystal would sink. It started with a phone call. I was at home with the boys, finally feeling a bit of calm, when my phone buzzed. I almost ignored it, but something nagged me to check. Blocked number. I picked up. A man's voice came through, low and all business. Mr. Carter. Who's this? Detective Martinez, local PD. We need you to come down to the station. There's a serious allegation against you. My blood ran cold. What kind of allegation? Your wife, Crystal Carter, filed a report saying you assaulted her. She's got bruises and witnesses. I almost laughed out loud. Of course, this was her last-ditch effort, her Hail Mary play. But I wasn't some fool who'd get caught off guard. So I went to the station, sat down across from Detective Martinez, arms crossed, cool as ever. She claims you attacked her, he said. Says you threatened her life. I leaned back in the chair, unfazed. That right? He pushed a folder across the table, photos of Crystal's face, all bruised up, swollen, a textbook image of a battered woman. Except for one little problem. That's fake, I said, flat out. Martinez raised an eyebrow. You got proof? I slid my own folder across the table. More than enough. Surveillance footage, GPS logs, witness statements. I wasn't anywhere near her when she claimed it went down. In fact, she'd been spotted at a bar hours earlier, looking perfectly fine. Those bruises? They showed up after she met with some shady guy known for dealing certain substances. Martinez leafed through my evidence, his brow furrowing deeper with each page. You really want to go through with pressing charges? I flashed a grin. Hell yeah, I'm all in. The final nail in the coffin, Crystal got hauled in for filing a false police report. But that wasn't even the worst of it. While the cops were poking through her records, they stumbled on something uglier. She'd been siphoning cash from our joint accounts, not just stashing it in her own savings, but funneling it to Ryan too. And that money? It wasn't just ours, it was tied to some shady deals. Fraud. And wouldn't you know it, Ryan was neck-deep in it with her. Within days, both of them were staring down charges. Ryan tried to make a run for it, but they nabbed him quick. Crystal. She had the gall to call me from jail, crying her eyes out, begging me to bail her out. You brought this on yourself, I said, my voice like ice. Hope you enjoy that freedom you were after. Then I hung up the phone. The last twist came 2 months later when a letter from Crystal showed up in my mailbox. It was short, her handwriting messy. Matt, I'm begging you. I screwed up bad. I've lost everything. The boys won't even speak to me. Ryan's ghosted me. I don't have a lawyer anymore, and I've got nowhere to go when I get out. Please, just talk to me. Please. I stared at that letter for a good while, turning it over in my hands. Then I tossed it into the fireplace and watched the flames eat it up. Some folks don't deserve another shot, and Crystal was at the top of that list. Months rolled by, and life kept moving. The boys were doing better, smiling more, growing stronger. They hardly brought up their mom anymore, and I didn't push them to. If they wanted to let her fade away, I wasn't gonna stand in their way. Crystal. She was like a shadow, barely real anymore. Word was she took a plea deal, probation, community service, and a pile of fines she'd never be able to pay. Ryan wasn't so lucky, he got slapped with real prison time for the fraud. Good riddance. I figured that was the end of it, until one evening when I stopped at a gas station off the highway. There she was, standing at the counter, looking like a shell of the woman I'd married. She was thinner, her hair a tangled mess, dressed in cheap clothes. The once stunning Crystal Carter was now just another down-and-out soul scraping by. She was counting out coins, trying to cover a pack of cigarettes. She didn't notice me at first. Then she turned, and our eyes locked. For a moment, we just stood there, silent, staring. Her lips parted. Matt. I gave her a once-over. Didn't think I'd run into you here. She swallowed hard, her voice shaky. I just got out. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I heard about that. She glanced around, like she was hoping I'd say more, maybe throw her a lifeline. I didn't. Instead, I pulled out my wallet, slapped a $20 bill on the counter, and told the cashier, put that toward whatever she's getting. Her eyes went wide. Matt, I don't need your. Yeah, you do, I cut her off. I turned to walk away. Wait, she called, her voice cracking. Please, just talk to me. I stopped, looking back at her one last time. You were my wife, I said, slow and steady, the mother of my boys, and you threw it all away for a cheap thrill. For my own brother. I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. Tears welled up in her eyes. I miss you. I miss what we had. I gave a bitter smirk. Betrayal's a funny thing, Crystal. Once you cross that line, there's no we anymore. Then I walked out the door, leaving her behind, right where she belonged, in the rear view of my life.